So here's the truth. Whenever you watch a video like this or consume media from your TV, tablet, computer, or phone, you're opening up the door for your perception and the way you view life to be manipulated through media. And there's tons of ways that you may not be aware of on how your perception can be affected and manipulated with information through media. Now, my content focuses on how media manipulation affects Black Americans, but in order to really dive deep into how it affects Black Americans, I need to talk about the foundations of how media manipulation works and how it affects people in general. So in this video, it's not gonna be that sexy, and I'm not gonna try to make it like a college lecture, but I'm gonna talk about the foundations of media manipulation and how it affects people in general. What's up, fam? I'm JasperTheFilmie. I'm a PhD candidate in media psychology, and I'm also a digital marketer. And like I said earlier, there's tons of ways you can get manipulated with information through media. Now, to get straight into it, there's two ways that information could be manipulated through media. One way is misinformation, and the second way is disinformation. Now, it may be common sense to some people, but I'll still break it down. Misinformation is just like how it sounds. It's not accurate. It's shared with practically no facts to back it up. But disinformation is the complete opposite. It's usually information that's not accurate, but shared with an agenda that's usually not coming from a good place. Now, there's two words that I would like for you to commit to memory. I'm not going to break them down just now. I'm going to get to that in a second, but I want you to commit these two words to memory: confirmation bias and availability heuristic. Because when it comes to media and information, these two words are really important, and they play a big role in our psychology as people. There are usually four characters in our society that we could say are moderators and sources of our information. And they're also usually the places that we could trace where the information came from the very beginning. Those four characters are politicians, governments, businesses, and organizations. And these four characters have different motives and why they spread their information. And instead of focusing on the misinformation that we established earlier isn't malice, and focus on the disinformation, there's reasons why these four characters have motives on spreading disinformation. Now, you may be watching this video and you could be saying to yourself, Jasper, this is all fine and dandy, and this information seems legit, but I'm pretty sure as a grown adult, if someone was to try to pull the wool over my eyes, I probably will be able to spot it or detect it. Now, if that's you, don't think too fast. Sit tight real quick, because I'm about to put you on game to something that you may not be aware of, but as a marketer, I'm aware of, and this is something that other marketers are aware of. So listen closely. One of the ways that these characters that I've pointed out spreads disinformation campaigns in society is by using a form of marketing called astroturf marketing. And astroturf marketing is a way of promoting a product, service, or idea to the public by hiding the sponsor of that product, service, or idea. So let's take a business, for example. A way a business would use astroturf marketing to promote their product or service is by hiring someone else to take the face of promoting that product, service, or idea. And we see it all the time in social media, or at least you may not see it, but as marketers, we see it. There's content creators out here that are promoting products, services, and ideas that the average person thinks is an average person on the other end. Little does that average person that's following that content creator knows that that's actually a hired voice. And it's something that the government uses, it's something that politicians uses, it's something that organizations uses. It's a way of manipulating social validation. And here's the deal. This is something that you really need to be careful of, also mindful of. If you don't develop the skill towards deciphering misinformation and disinformation through the media, your personal biases that these characters have done research on to put through media messages are not going to help you gain better insight on what's the truth or what's the fact. These characters will put out messages to play to those personal biases to lead your thoughts towards their agenda and their goal. Studies shows that as people, we tend to not like to be in situations where we're uncomfortable, and knowingly and unknowingly we seek out what's called confirmation bias, which is finding information that defends our personal beliefs, our interests, that sometimes are not always accurate. This day and age, it is so easy for us as people to get confirmation in our personal biases because we live in a society where we have social media, we have influencers, and we have so many resources to our disposal to always get our information that we want to hear on demand. i.e. on-demand content is an example of that. On social media, there are algorithms that are controlled to make sure that that user using that app or that social media platform will stay on the platform as long as they possibly can. And in order to do that, that algorithm is programmed to research that individual on their interests, their beliefs, and their likes, and put that stuff that they like personally in front of them all of the time so that they could stay on the platform. Social validation with influencers and content creators has been the primary source of validating information. When many people believe it, many people validate it, many people follow it. We currently live in a society where ideas, opinions, and concepts are defended by social validation, which creates what I like to call bubbles. The bubble of information that a person receives is within the bias and the groups that they stay within. But there's a technical term for this, which is something that I mentioned earlier. It's called availability heuristic. Now, the American Psychological Association defines availability heuristic as a strategy. It's a strategy that one uses to define their judgment off of the events that they've experienced or witnessed. Now, the error with it is that it confines that person only to the witnessed events that they've experienced by keeping them kind of biased on things that are outside of the experiences that they haven't experienced, which creates a bigger problem. When we're looking at media that's always putting the information that we want to hear in front of us, or we're getting information fed to us that we don't know how to decipher as false or a lie, then it always keeps us closed from understanding what's really true. And that's the big problem. So if you're the type of person that strongly believes in not being easily manipulated through disinformation through the media, or build a stronger skill to not get manipulated with disinformation, then I would strongly suggest you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to follow me and the other videos that I'll be placing out about disinformation and misinformation, because this is a great place on YouTube for you to get that, so you can always maintain some sovereign thinking and not get gained by manipulative media.